So let's begin. Whenever you're ready, come to your mat, cushion. Start in centering as we always do, whether you're seated or lying down. Make yourself comfortable, whatever's calling out to you today. And as we start to arrive on the mat, we start to release the day's events, plans for the future, the regrets of the past, the anxieties of the unknown. Arriving here in the present, nurturing ourselves and establishing a time for mental health, for nurturing, for growing our stability, for strengthening our resolve by practicing being here right now. Our climate continues to change, anticipation, growing concerns, growing anxieties, growing regrets, maybe of how we spent the time that has passed. Just recognizing that this is all part of the human condition. We're never really satisfied, right? We have constant ruminating thoughts, how we could have done things better, if what we're venturing into is the right thing. Full of judgments, full of concern, full of worry. And as we move into this state of our body, as we feel all of those feelings and sensations, any trepidation, even any elation, part of us might feel relieved as we move to the next phase of our current environment. Just first of all, recognize that this is common. You're not alone in these feelings, even if they're not prevalent. Maybe something I've said resonated, even slightly. It's part of the human nature. We'll continue to move through our journey as yogis, being present, being mindful of how we are responding, how we are affected in the physical body, many different aspects of our being, including the emotional and mental state. The spiritual condition. Watching, noticing ourselves for signs of just signs of impatience, signs of feeling superior or judgmental. It's really easy to judge, to see how things are going in the global scheme of things, but also on the home front, right on down to the home front. Just noticing this, and notice and make those decisions, make those choices. How do you want to engage? How do you want to engage? Something I like to try on now and then is, what do I want to reflect on when I'm through this particular event, no matter what it is, right? Like if I'm going through a strenuous situation, how do I want to look back on it? How do I want to look at myself and how I responded, how I behaved, right? How I moved through the course of whatever life is offering. We talked about integrity last night. We're talking about resolve. We're talking about being authentic and in our true self. And that's essentially in the smallest of things. Great place to process this on the mat, on the yoga mat, in our yoga circle, our yoga practice. Take a deep inhale here. And exhale. Start to make small circles. So from an easy seated pose, start to move the body, the torso, right out of the hips and create these little circles. You can keep your eyes closed, your shoulders soft. Just feeling the body. Sort of noticing here how you spend your time, how you spend your energy. Wonderful that we have this yoga practice. It's a wonderful thing to acknowledge. You can go into the observation of how do you spend your yoga practice? What experience are you creating for yourself? I'm just going to move back and forth. Let the shoulders start to lead the way as we move a little bit deeper into the circles. Allow the breath to flow. It's great to come to the yoga mat. It's great to come into a meditation, a sitting, practice. How are we really spending that time? All right. Just a few more, just whatever movements back and forth, figure eight, circles, whatever. It's feeling responsive. How are you responding? All right, then come back up to center when you're through with that. We'll do some myofascial release. So softening the shoulders down, right? We're going to take the hand right on the right hand. Let's take the right hand right on the center of the chest and take the left hand right over the right hand, or either hand is fine. We're going to press on that sternum right here and start to lower the skin. So you're kind of pulling or drawing the skin of your chest right here down. So pressing down and pressing in and down. Start to lift my chin. That nice deep stretch. That kind of stretch, that really sort of stiff stretch here is more than just muscles. It's going into the myofascial, so the tissue beneath the skin. You want to go further here. Open your mouth. Let the head drop back. And then keeping the head there, start to close your mouth. Breathing through the nose. And then release. Great job. Gaze forward. Nice work. We're going to take the right hand across the top of the clavicle here and draw it towards the armpit. Just moving towards the armpit. You can use your left hand to support that as well. And then turn the head to the opposite side. And release, come back to center. We'll go to the other side. If it's easier, use the same hand, or the same hand of the side you're moving. So move to the left, and then gaze to the right. Nice job. Come back to center. We'll go down the center of the sternum again. So left hand, right hand over the heart, drawing down the sternum. Seeing if there's any different sensation here as we gaze up. Opening the mouth. And closing the mouth. to neutral, chin to chest. Now just lower the chin to the chest. Release the hands now. Soften the shoulders, soften the back of the neck. Deep breath in. And exhale. Wonderful. Come back up with the gaze forward. Take a deep breath. Reach the arms out and up overhead. Interlace the fingers. Bring the hands behind the head. And press the head into hands. And soften the shoulders, elbows back. Deep breath. Keep pressing back into the hands, hands into the head, as you're lowering the shoulders down and elbows back. Interesting combination of movement here. Great work. And gently release. Both arms down by the side. Good. We're going to reach the legs out in front. They've been bent up a little bit here, so just windshield wiper back and forth. As you know, tonight's class is a yin class. We'll start moving to build up some heat before we move into the yin portion of the class, okay? First, a little bit of stretch. So let's take a deep breath in, reach the arms out and up overhead. Come forward into a forward fold. Reach your hands and palms, interlace the fingers any way you need. Feel good, right? And just come right over the legs. We're going to pause here for a few breaths, start to open up the back body and lower the chin to the chest. Keep softening the shoulder blades away from each other, lowering the forehead down towards the knees. Breathing in and exhaling. Breathing in again. Exhale, complete. Bring the hands down by your side, press down into the mat. Just float all the way back up. We're going to crisscross at the ankles and roll to all fours. Coming to child's pose. We'll come to child's pose. Come right into child's pose. So just bring the big toes together, walk the knees apart towards the edges of the mat, send the hips back to heels, and reach the hands towards the top of the mat. Lower the armpits down, chin towards chest, and the forehead to the mat. Softening the armpits here, reaching the tailbone back, extending the fingers to the other side of the mat. Breathing in and exhaling. Breath in. Nice deep stretch. Press it back. All right, press the hands into the mat and float all the way up to table pose. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Curl the toes under here just for a little more stability and start just moving through a flow of cat-cow. So gaze is forward, tailbone lifts. On the exhale, tailbone tucks, chin to chest. Deep breath in. And exhale. Okay, deep breath in again. Curling the toes under, floating the knees off the mat as you come to that stable neutral spine, just floating here, engaging through the core, stretching through the toes. Nice deep breath. Lower the knees down if you care to, and then come back up on the next breath. Lower down once again as an option, and then float back up, or you can stay hovering. Start to lengthen the back of the legs as we move into downward facing dog. You can draw the hips high, come high on the tippy toes. Heels above the toes. Send the hands into the mat so we find that nice inverted V. Nice deep stretch here and breathe. 3, deep breaths. Work them forward to plank. How does that feel? What's going on in the body? Pressing the hips back up to plank, releasing the right foot straight back. You're standing on the wall, and then piking the hips, pressing back into that left hip. Come forward to plank and draw the right knee under the heart. Send your energy forward. Reach the right leg back again. Hips lift. And forward once again, knee to chest. Send the right foot straight back. So lift up towards the sky. Open the hips, stacking the hips right over left. Sending that right leg nice and high. Maybe bending the knee, lowering the heel down towards the right glute. Gazing under your right armpit for a nice little twist here. Pressing the hips up. Gaze back to the fingers. Leveling off the hips. Bring the right knee under the heart. Hover here. And then press the right foot on the inside of the right thumb. Low lunge. Lower the hips. Deep breath in. Lower the left knee. Float off the fingers. Fingers down. Inhale both arms out and up. Okay, interlace the fingers here. Bring the hands behind the head. Elbows back. Heart lifts, gaze lifts. Inhale and exhale. Wonderful. Neutral spine. Release the hands back down to the mat. Curl the left toes under. You know what? Let's just keep the right foot where it is. We're going to straighten the right leg. Send the hips back. Maybe the left heel comes down and lower the forehead to the right knee. Good. Come forward, releasing the right foot back to meet the left. Downward facing dog. And 3 little breaths here. Okay, come forward to plank. Feeling the body. Spreading the fingers. Gazing at the back of your hands. Wrists are parallel to the top of the mat. Press down, pike into downward facing dog, left foot straight back. Just like you're standing on the wall behind you. Come forward to plank, left knee under the heart. Send the left foot straight back. Send the hips high. Gaze at the right toes. Come forward to plank, the left knee under the heart. Send the left foot back again. This time lift it up. Stack the left hip over right, bending the left knee. Left heel to the right hip. Gazing under the left shoulder. Yawning that leg open, so sending that knee up. Wonderful. Come, squaring off the hips, left knee under the heart, and stepping that left foot forward. Come to fingertips, lower the right knee down. And then floating off the left thigh, reach the fingertips out in front, up overhead. Interlace the fingers, and place them right behind the head. Elbows back, heart lifts. In. And exhale out. Nice work. Come forward, both hands on either side of the left foot. Curl the right toes under, send the hips back. Left leg straightens, forehead to the left shin. And breathing in. And exhale. Nice deep breath. Wonderful. Listen carefully. Bring the hands on either side of the left foot. Bend into the left knee and spring forward with the right foot. Forward fold. Staying here or supporting the heels, maybe with a little lift, a little towel or blanket. Slight bend in the knees. Chin comes towards chest as we find the fold. Breathing
And exhaling out. One more deep breath here. And listen carefully. We're going to take the weight in the right foot, pick up the left foot, move it around behind the standing foot to the other side. So crisscrossing at the shins, pinky toes are now side by side. Come back into your fold. Soften shoulders, neck, and head. All right. Using your fingertips for balance, release the left foot to the other side. And switch legs. Right foot comes around to the back of the left. And find this fold, relaxing the toes. Relaxing the face, shoulder, neck, and head. Inversions are wonderful for the whole systems within the body, lymphatic fluids. And stretching that T-band. Try not to lock your knees. If there's any pressure there, try to find a little softening. Breathing in. And exhaling. Nice work. Bring the right foot right back around to the normal side. And just 2 more breaths here in your fold. Take your big toes, stand on your hands, moving just a tad deeper if there is room for 1 more breath. Nice work. Bring the hands to the mat. Step the left foot back. Step the right foot back. Downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Savasana. Heels towards the mat. Breathing in. Softening shoulder blades. 1 more breath. Release the right leg straight up overhead. So open the hips here. Lifting the right toes to the sky. Gazing up at your fingers, squaring off the hips, and then drawing the right knee under the heart, placing the right foot on the inside of the right thumb, keeping the left knee hovering over the mat or lowering it down for modification. Come up to the fingertips and rise up into a high lunge. Inhale, both arms out and up overhead. Interlace the fingers, hands behind the head, elbows back. Heart is lifted. And breathe. Good. Come a little lower in your lunge. Start to pivot on that back foot, lowering the heel down as we open into warrior 2. Extend the arms out to the side. Breathing in. Deeper in your lunge as the hips lower. Inhale. And exhale. Gaze over the right arm. Exalted warrior, right arm up, reach back to the wall behind you. Inhale back up to warrior 2, and take a triangle pose. Stay in the bent leg, lowering down in that lunge. Nice breath. And float back up to warrior 2. Great. Nice long breath, gazing over the right arm, looking into your future. Turn your gaze to the back arm, just glancing back at your past. It's okay to look back, they say, just don't stare. Can't see in our past, right? It's gone, it's behind us. Come back to front, and cartwheel right hand, left hand around the right foot. And then step back to your downward facing dog to change directions. And breathe. All right, release the left leg straight up. All Right, gazing forward, draw the left knee under the heart. Hovering here, so pressing down into the mat, finding your strength, your space, and lowering the left foot on the inside of the left thumb. Lower the hips down. You can bring the knee down for modification or flip the fingertips up off the mat. Come into a high lunge, fingertips down. Inhale, both arms out and up overhead. Take the arms up this time, or you can interlace your fingers and come to the back of the head again. Any arm variation. Okay, prepare the back foot for a pivot as we move into warrior two. Okay, it's just sliding the whole direction of the body sideways. And arms may extend, gaze over the left arm. Shoulder blades together, soften down. Reverse warrior, right arm down, left arm up. Stay low in the lunge. Right, inhale back to warrior two. And bent leg triangle. Left fingers down, right fingers up. Come back to warrior two. Gaze over the left arm. Take a look back at the right. Just for nostalgia's sake. And then gaze back over the left arm. Throw your belly in, tailbone is soft. We'll go for the cartwheel. So left arm down, right arm follows. Listen carefully. This time the right foot's going to step forward to meet the left. Bend the knees a lot, lower the hips down, reach your arms out in front. Let's try to flatten that back, tailbone back, torso on the thighs. Feet are about hip width distance apart. Nice deep squat. Lowering the hips down. All right, release the fingertips to the mat. Reach behind your back, interlace the fingers here, right on that tailbone, right at the lower back, and start to extend the back of the leg, shoulder, neck, and head down. Start to reach the knuckles up towards the ceiling. Breathing in, chin to chest. Crown is down. How did your breath inform the condition of your body? Does your breath reflect the state of your mind? Pressing down, lifting the tailbone up. Release the hands to the lower spine. Nice work. Bring the hands down to the mat. Walk your feet towards the edges of the mat and come into a squat. Lower the hips right down to the center, right between the heels. Okay. You can sit on a block or a cushion. Elbows into the knees. Thumbs into the heart. Breathing in and exhaling out. Continue lowering the tailbone. In and out. One more breath like that, lifting the heart. And exhaling, bring the hands back to the mat. Start to lift the tailbone. So start to straighten the back of the legs and heel toe your feet hip width distance apart. You're in a forward fold. So reverse swan to come up. So reach the arms out to the side and all the way up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart. So 3 rounds of sun salutations here. Take a deep breath, both arms out and up. Exhaling, fold forward. Chin to chest. Hands to shins. Inhale, forward. Look forward, halfway up. Exhale to fold. Release the fingertips down. Inhale and rise. Exhale, hands to heart. Okay. Deep breath in. Exhale to fold. Shin to chest, hands to shins. Inhale, halfway lift.
And exhale, fold. Release and rise. So hands start. One more time. Deep breath in. Exhale. Forward fold. Halfway, look forward, tailbone extends. Exhale to fold. And rise, inhale. Arms out and up overhead. Exhale, hands to the heart. And breathe in. And exhale. Release the arms down by your side. Mountain pose, feet are flat on the mat. Toes are lifted. Knees are softly bent. Crown is rising to the sky, so rooting down to rise. Shifting your weight to the left leg, bending the right, and opening the right knee to the right side for balancing tree pose. Stay here on the right toes or float the right foot up to the calf or inner thigh. Yeah. Go ahead and release your arms into your expression of branches. Lifting up through the crown of your head. Tapping yourself on the crown, sort of inspiring that lift. Rooting down to rise. And then coming into some movement here with the right knee, coming through crane pose, liberating the right knee, the right leg, and using the hands as wings as you move through crane pose, or any bird you want to be. Bring the right knee up, just hovering here, and release. And we'll go to the other side. So left knee bends, open the left knee to the side. Lifting left foot to the inside of the calf or thigh. Then arms reach out and up overhead. Crown is lifting. Freestyle. You're a bird. Your version of bird or crane. It's graceful, long movements. Left knee lifts. And release it down. Nice work. Take a breath here. Inhale, both arms out and up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Pausing here with thumbs at the heart center. Noticing what you notice. Inhale and exhale. All right, release the arms down. Take a deep breath. Both arms reach out and up overhead. Exhale to fold forward. Let the breath go. Walking the hands forward. Come to hands and knees. All right, gazing forward. Releasing the right arm out to the side. We transition here to a yin expression of a shoulder opener. Release the right hand across the mat. Inhale, the right arm reaches out. Pressing down with the left. Again, the right hand sweeps across the mat, gazing left. So dancing your way down. Just one little movement at a time as you get deeper. And reach the right fingertips across the mat. Right shoulder lowers down. Weight down the shoulders, we know, not on the head or the neck. We don't want to straighten the neck. And if you're liberating the left arm up, reach it up. And then drop the back of the left hand across the lower back. Or not, you can keep the arm in front of you as well. Resting here. Softening into that shoulder. Notice the resistance, the tendency to hold yourself up by powering up those muscles. See if you can soften. Just a few more moments. Bring the left hand back to the mat. Pressing down. Returning to table pose. Sweep that left hand out to the side. And across the mat. Inhale again. Left arm across. Nice work. Reach it up. Take the left fingertips across the mat. Bending the right elbow until the left shoulder comes down. Of course, using that pillow or block to support the left shoulder, bringing the floor closer up or higher as assistance. Then reach the right arm up. Bending the right elbow and right arm across the lower back. Nice deep breath. Soften into that shoulder. Start transitioning into the yin state of mind. So releasing muscle tension. Noticing where that is in the body. How are you spending your time on the mat? Part of you is holding on, arriving in your practice. Just a few more breaths here. Keep releasing. Nice deep breath. Bring the right hand to the mat. Come all the way back up to all fours. Great job. Walk your knees back a bit and then slide forward to come down to your tummy. Crocodile pose, stacking the hands under, on top of each other, elbows wide. Forehead right down on the top of the back of that top hand with the big toes together. The knees are lifted, coming back down on the outside edges of the kneecaps, and the heels are open. Allowing the practice to integrate in the body. The pause is in the details, right? The details are in the pause. One or the other. One more breath here. Bringing the forehead off the hands, draw the elbows under the shoulders, and place the hands straight out in front of the elbows. So the palms are down, forearms are down. Pressing down to extend through the spine. Belly button is lifted towards the spine as the heart's lifted, shoulder blades together, gaze is forward. Breathing in and exhaling. The energy is moving in through the elbows, out through the neck, so you're lifting off your shoulders. Imagine drawing the rib cage off the floor, so continue lifting here. At the same time, softening the lower back, the glutes, hips are soft. Imagine a grapefruit-sized ball at the throat. We're going to take the chin and rotate or wrap the chin around that grapefruit as we draw the chin all the way around that sphere towards the chest. Keep pressing the elbows down so shoulders aren't dumping. And inhale to extend the neck to neutral. Gaze at the back, just a bit off the top of the mat. You're going to take a rotation of the neck. So the neck stays where it's at in line with the spine. We're just going to rotate the head to the right. And keep pressing down through the arms. So you're feeling this in the left shoulder at the same time on the right side of the neck. And inhale back to center. And exhale to the other side. Coming back to center, hands are nice and wide. We'll press down through the hands as we lift the elbows off the mat. Seal pose. Gazing forward. Soften the belly. Breathing in. And exhaling, elbows start to release back to the mat. And slide our hands back underneath the shoulders. Press into the mat and lift up to table pose. So nice and slow, let that lower back integrate out of that back bend. Send the hips back to heels for transition pose into child's pose. Squaring off the lower back, neutralizing the spine once again. We'll stay here for just a few breaths. Softening into your yin expression. So releasing the energy through the shoulders, maybe stacking the hands, forehead down. Make this a nice soft yin expression. Bring the hands back out in front. We press down and come back up to table pose, just for our setup for the next pose. Now, you can go sideways on the mat. We're going to go into frog pose, okay? So you might need a blanket under your knees. You can come sideways on your mat. If you have two mats side by side, you might have enough padding, but set up your situation at home, wherever you're at. And start with the big toes together and the knees under the hips, okay? If you want a bolster under the torso, you can go ahead and bring that in as well. Okay. So frog pose is table pose with the knees moving away from the midline, in line with the hips, okay? And then we'll move the torso down if we want to. You can stay on your hands or you can lower the torso down. Let's move the knees first. Just gonna start sliding the knees apart. Okay, so my hips are lowering down because my knees are opening to the side. I'm going to start with a bolster here to support from the pubic bone to the chest. Okay, so I'm not going to come all the way to the mat just yet. You can if you're ready. It's up to you. Come down on my elbows. Maybe lower my chin on the top edge of the bolster. Stack my fist for my forehead. Use a block. Many variations here. Okay. Or you can forego the bolster altogether. If you're looking for more sensation, sometimes the bolster sort of supports, which is great. Sometimes you don't want that support. Start moving the hips towards the floor. What we want to look for is our tendency to move the hips forward or back. We want to keep the hips in alignment with the knees. Okay. So if we're coming out of the pose by coming forward maybe the bolster would be a good idea to keep the knees and hips in alignment. Same if we're moving the hips back towards the heels, although to me that feels like more sensation. So I'm not sure I would actually tend to go that way, but every body is different. We're going to release here into the frog pose, allowing gravity and time, okay, to work us into the pose. When you feel, after a few moments here, maybe another 45 seconds or so, that the hips and thighs start to release, you're able to soften and relax through the tendencies of your mind. So move yourself into the intention of how you're going to spend your time. Okay. What is your time being used for here? Time is the one thing we spend and never get back. Once we spend time, don't get it back. So how are you spending your time? Are you resisting? Are you controlling? Are you allowing? Are you receiving? Whatever comes. If your toes are still together, you can keep them there, or we can start to separate or move the toes towards the edges of the mat. May change the sensation of your practice of this pose. So notice what you notice. Then you come back into your sensation. Perhaps allowing a little more sensation. Perhaps noticing where you are resisting. How do you consider how you spend your time each day? Each moment. Continue breathing, releasing, softening into your frog pose. Just a few more moments here. How are your thoughts? Can you release just 3 more breaths? After this next breath, bring the hands to the mat. Okay, start to straighten your legs. And if you're on a bolster, you can stay on the bolster and lay just flat down as you lengthen your legs. You can remove the bolster and come all the way to the mat. closing your eyes and resting here. Your time is valuable. What do you value most about your time? What do you value most about your time? One more breath here. Bring the hands to the mat. We come back to table pose. Prepare for our next posture. We use the bolster as an option to support us through pigeon pose. So if you have a bolster, draw it across the top of the knees. Hands are under the shoulders. It's one way to come into pigeon. If you don't want to use a bolster, that's perfectly fine. You can also take pigeon pose on your back with your foot on a wall. Some other variations as well. I'm going to demonstrate the posture with the bolster. I'm going to curl the toes under just enough to bring the right leg in front of the bolster. Okay, the whole leg right down here on the bolster. The left leg is now the front of the thigh is on top of the bolster. I'm going to curl my toes under and walk that foot back until I'm sort of hugging it between my thighs. Okay, I'm going to square off my hips, draw the right hip back. This is the bolster's here to square off the hips, supporting the right hip and giving a nice extension in the left leg. The hands underneath the shoulders will press down, lengthening the spine. And on the exhale, bend my elbows back towards my rib cage. So I'm sending my heart forward, okay, wanting to keep that spine long. Can use a bolster for my forehead or start to stack my fists or flat hands. They come all the way down into pigeon pose. Okay. Once I'm released here, I'll release the back toes and start to release the whole torso and turning the head one way or the other to come all the way to the floor. And on the concept of time, the value of your time, you come into the sensations of your body. Begin to experience what thoughts arise when you consider what would you like to make more time for? What would you like to make more time for? Answer a question like, I would like more time to do X, or I would like more time to experience X. Going deep into the relaxation of this pose. The sensations are deep stretch. Any discomfort, you want to make adjustments here. Once we find our expression, moving into stillness. Allowing the yin posture to take its time to expose in your body what is available. To expose in your heart, in your mind. Soften what you can soften here. Notice where you're holding tension. And with the breath, begin to release and let it go. As you inventory your time, perhaps inquiring about whether or not the activities that you spend your time on is it nourishing? Where you're spending your time, is it nourishing to your soul? Notice your breath and lengthen each inhale, lengthen each exhale for 2 more rounds. And slowly coming out of the pose, bring the hands back under the shoulders. Counter pose or pigeon pose is simply coming to the other side. So roll the left toes under, making room to bring the right leg back. And start in table, and just bring the left leg forward. Depending on what your setup is. You're using the bolster once again, top of the right leg, straddling that bolster until you walk the foot back. Okay? And hugging that bolster in between your thighs, releasing the right toes, and making your descent to the floor. Notice how this side might feel different than the first side. You observe your body. Breathing your way into the pose, right? So you're finding that yin expression as you start to release the tension, resistance. Soften every muscle group in the lower body, the torso, the upper body, shoulders. Noticing your neck and your chin, your jaw.
Do you make time for the essential and most valuable things? So what do you want more time for? And how do you make time for those most essential and valuable things? Notice how the tension creeps up. It arrives somehow back in the body. And when you notice it, see if there's room to release it again. A couple more breaths here. Just a couple rounds, lengthening, releasing. We'll bring the hands to the mat. Very slowly come up. Come out of this one just by bringing the right leg forward. Come to seated. Using the bolster, if that was part of your practice, across the lap or extended on one end. Just either an easy pose, start to release into the bolster, or you can extend your legs. Any leg variation, any arm variation, bolster over bolster, bolster on one end, or a block and a bolster. Find something, a pillow, a blanket to support this gentle yin forward fold. When considering time and how we use our time, the more wiser we get. I was going to say the older we get, but the wiser we get, we can also in our youth value time. The concept of time seems to pass much faster.
It's the one thing we spend but never get back. Bringing our awareness to question what it's worth. Right? What is our time worth? What do we value the most? What do we need or want to make more time for? Do the activities we spend nourish us? Do we make time for the most valuable, essential things? Do you set limits? Do you set limits to how you spend your time, or do you say yes to everything? Can you set limits? Maybe creating time for those valuable things we seem to think we don't have time for. When we start to set limits, do we abide by the limits that we set? It's one thing to set boundaries, but do we actually abide by our boundaries? All right, just a couple more breaths here. If you're still there, continue to soften into the fold. When you're ready to come out of the fold, bring your hands to the mat. Start to press your way out of the fold. We'll transition. It's pretty deep transition all the way to the back. So take your time. Take your valuable time all the way down. We'll start with the knees bent and the back flat on the floor. Actually, can you grab a strap on your way down? Do you have a strap or a scarf that you can reach for? And then just make sure you have enough room. We're going to do the leg openers. So we're going to move the legs to the side. Kind of scoot yourself away from the wall if you're there. And I'll just show you where we're going, and you can set up as you're ready. Just going to take the right foot up, hooking the strap around the bottom of the right foot. Keeping the left leg bent. And start to use the strap or the scarf or the towel or the wrap to your house coat to lift the toes up and soften the back of the hip. So you feel supported, everything's okay, knee feels okay, the back of the leg is good. And once you feel everything sort of relaxing, trusting, we'll extend the right arm, the right hand close to the foot and the left hand down towards the body for leverage, okay? And then we'll start to open up. So we're just going to guide with the right hand, guide that right foot all the way to the right side, reaching to the other side of the room, keeping the toes high. Okay, the left leg can stay bent for support, right? Or you can take the left leg straight down the mat and start to turn the head to the left shoulder. Take this only in stages, right? If you feel like you've gone too far, it's a little bit more extreme or more sensational, then you'd like, then back off a little bit, come back to the stage before and wait for the body to be ready for the next stage. Feel like the toes lifting higher towards the top of the mat. Both hips are on the ground, so we're not rolling off to the side. Releasing or relaxing the hands. We know that not every moment of every day can be spent in the most valuable way, right? I mean, with all things being relative, there are certain things we do during the day that are essential, that may not feel valuable, but some things have to just get done, right? If you start to consider taking a time inventory, sort of there's a grid I could share with you. It's sort of like the circle of life, I think it's called. But it's about all the components in your life, right? That make up your life. Certain relationships, certain work, certain responsibilities, certain conveniences, pleasures, activities, entertainment. And we start to look at these spokes on this wheel, or the quadrants, or how many of other sections you can add to your circle. When you, from the center, the axis of the circle, you sort of extend that spoke in that section, and you sort of plot, like plot. Giovanni will know about this. It's advanced linear calculus, whatever. You plot your circle on the line for the extent of how much time or how much you value that part of your life, or maybe even qualifying it, how well you're doing in that area, right? The further towards the edge, right, the better, right? So according to your own, analysis, right? And you just plot these dots along the circle and these different quadrants, or these different spokes of the wheel. It's not quadrants, it's more than that. It's probably like 8 or 10 sections. Take a deep breath here. I didn't forget about your leg. I'm off on a tangent here. Another breath in. Good. We're going to bring that right leg up and over. Take your time. Just switching hands. Left arm reaches up. Leg is back overhead. Right, and just a counter movement for the outer leg. Bring the leg over to the left. So just for a couple of breaths here. You're going to find some restriction, bone on bone. You're going to find a place where the leg won't move beyond. Keep lifting the toe high. You want a nice deep hamstring stretch. Breathing in. And then the leg lifts up overhead, and very easily, very gently, bend the knee and release the foot back to the mat. Wow. Okay, pausing here, just feeling the sensations. I think it's been a while since we've done that one. I can certainly feel it. Okay, and when you're ready, whatever you need to do to release that leg, or we just go to the other side, just hooking the strap on the bottom of the left foot. Okay. Good. And we're just in total control here. We don't do anything that the leg isn't ready for, you're not interested in. We're just going to draw the leg up overhead, reaching the left hand towards the left foot. Just pausing, waiting. Everything's soft, shoulders are soft, jaw soft. When you're ready, keeping the toes high, start to open the left foot towards the left side. So use your hand guiding it down, only going to the extent that you're willing to go. Okay, popping the left elbow, leveraging the right arm. Let's see how this goes. Anyway, so this little wheel of life is um, just a nice visual, right, of what we're spending our time on, right? And we can assess, we can run these little assessments periodically, you know, we're trying to correct a situation, spending a lot of time, say, in a very dramatic relationship or situation where you're just feeling drained, there's a lot of energy and attention going to some certain thing, you know, maybe worth your while to look at this on this little circle and start to adjust, just seeing all the other things that are being sacrificed for that one thing. And then you can make a decision, right? You start making decisions. So I want to spend less time on this so I can have more time for the other thing. And there are certainly seasons of life where, you know, we're called to spend more time on a certain part of our life than others. And that's okay. And sometimes to cope with that, to move through that, it helps to know that this is where you're at, right? You acknowledge it. You make the decision, okay, I'm going to spend this time here. I know I'm going to sacrifice these other things, but this is for a period of time. And I'm making the decision to do that, right? Really what I value about my time. This is within my boundaries. I'm making a clear choice. It's all about valuing your time. Bring in awareness and integrity to your values. Right? All right, couple more breaths. Deep inhale. Exhale. On the next breath, start to bringing that leg up. So just drawing on that strap or that belt. Lift the leg up and over. And maybe to the other side, casually. Bring the leg right back overhead and then lower the foot down as you release the strap. Pausing here for any integration that you prefer. Maybe bring the feet together, butterfly pose. Might feel good. Soften the lower back, shoulders, neck, and head. Inhaling and exhaling. Soften your face, shoulders, hips. All right, so drawing your knees back up if you're in butterfly pose. We'll move into Shavasana. So a couple ideas. Maybe you scoot your bolster over and drape your legs over the top of your bolster. Nice supportive Shavasana after those deep hip openers. And elevate your legs up the wall or on a sofa. where your legs are just sort of at a 90-degree angle. You can even take your strap if you want under both feet and extend overhead. If this is the case, maybe take the strap under your armpits, sort of to support the legs. Take whatever variation that works for you, or your traditional shavasana with your arms extended, legs extended. And take the last few moments here, just letting go. Bring awareness back to your breath. Notice your body in this place and time. Bringing small movements to your fingers and toes, your wrists, ankles. Moving your head gently from side to side. It's right for you to come to lay on one side, to continue to bring yourself slowly to awakened state. And pausing here, or wherever you are. For one more moment alone in the privacy of your own thoughts. Finding gratitude. Gratitude for the time that you've taken to be with yourself tonight or this morning. Validating the value of your time, value of your life, and the way you spend your time. Noticing the changes that may have occurred in your body, your mind, and your heart. And as you roll yourself to seated, preparing to express our oneness in time through the audible expression of Om, acknowledging the energy that unites us, the energy that thrives in us, the energy that connects us. Unmute your mic if you wish to be heard. As you come gently to seating. First, we'll take an inhale to cleanse the breath, whether you're laying down or seated. Take a deep inhale here. Exhaling all that you need back to your heart. After this next breath, we'll Om one time. The belly is soft, the voice is strong. Deep breath in. Thank you all for joining me in this amazing practice. Coming out, be with each other, spending your valuable time with me and each other. The divine light in me recognizes and bows to the divine light in each and every one of you. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Jai Bhagwan and Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you.
Thank you,
you.
Sheila.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night. And remember, no class on Monday. Okay, see you tomorrow night, though. Friday night's good. No class on Monday.
Namaste.
Camping. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica.
Thank you, Mommy.
Thanks, Giovanni.
Bye.
Bye.